Kapag nag-rally ang mga tao, natural na ma-intimidate ang mga kurakot. No? Yung mga lantad, bigla na lang magre-resign, yung iba magtatago, at yung karamihan mananahimik. Para silang bahay ng langgam na kapag nabulabog, magsisipagtakpuhan at magkanya-kanya ng alis. Pero hanggat hindi tuluyan nasisira ang pugad at may pagkain pang natitira, babalik at babalik pa rin sila. At mas matatag at mas marami pang pugad ang itatayo nila. Kaya kung mapapansin mo, kahit ilang rally at ilang EDSA revolution ang dumaan, parang walang tunay na pagbabago. Bakit parang cycle lang? No? Protesta, pagbabago ng leader, tapos balik na naman sa dati. Today, we will trace the roots of that problem. We will look back at the history, at the 1987 Constitution, and the influence of the Aquino Cuangco clan, and how all of this shaped the Philippines that we live in today. Noong 1986, matapos ang matinding diktadura ni Ferdinand Marcos Sr., sumiklab ang People Power Revolution. No? Millions of Filipinos went to EDSA, calling for freedom, democracy, and an end to authoritarian rule. And out of that historical moment, Corazon Cory Aquino, the widow of a slain opposition leader Ninoy Aquino, rose to the presidency. At bilang simbolo ng democracy, nagkaroon ng mandato si Cory na bumuo ng bagong saligang batas. So in 1987, the Constitution was ratified with the goal of protecting democracy, preventing another dictatorship, and empowering the Filipino people. Sa madaling salita, sa papel, magandang layunin. Pero in reality, maraming butas ang naging bunga. Unang-una, the 1987 Constitution placed too much power, no, in political dynasties. Instead of dismantling them, it allowed families to control local politics. Walang malinaw na batas laban sa dynasties. Kaya umusbong yung mga political clans from Luzon to Mindanao. Sa madaling salita, yung mga trapo. No? Pangalawa, the economic provisions tie the Philippines to foreign dependence. Imbis na palakasin ang, di ba? Palakasin ang industriya, iumasa tayo sa foreign loans and imports. Kaya ang utang ng Pilipinas lumobo to trillions. At hanggang ngayon, bawat Pilipino ay may utang halos 150,000 kung hatiin. Pangatlo, masyadong idealistic ang mga checks and balances. The intent was to limit presidential power, no? Pero ang resulta, a weak government na hirap kumilos pag may crisis. Kaya kung may corruption na nasa Congress, halos wala na magawa ang executive. And when the judiciary is influenced, halos paralyze ang buong sistema. Hindi pwedeng pag-usapan ang 1987 Constitution without mentioning the Aquino Cuangco clan. No? Cory Aquino came from a Cuangco family, one of the richest and most influential families in the Philippines. Isa sa pinakamalaking issue noon is yung Hacienda Luisita, no? A massive sugar estate sa Tarlac. Noong panahon ni Marcos, sinubukang hatiin ang hacienda para ipamahagi sa mga magsasaka. Pero nung maupo si Cory, the distribution was delayed and complicated. In fact, for decades, farmers continued to fight for their share. The massacre of protesting farmers in 2004 highlighted this unresolved issue. Bukod dito, the Cuangcos maintained vast businesses and political influence. With the presidency under Cory, the family's ties to politics grew stronger. No? Campaign financing, business contracts, and control of media networks strengthened the clan's power. At dito natin makikita the 1987 Constitution, while claiming to empower the people, also conveniently protected the interests of powerful elites. Pero paano nga ba ito naramdaman ng ordinaryong Pilipino? For the tricycle driver, it meant higher fuel prices, no? Dahil walang stable na energy policy. And for the farmer, it meant landlessness dahil hindi naitupad ng buo ang genuine agrarian reform. And for the OFW, It meant leaving the country dahil walang sapat na trabaho dito. And for the call center agent, it meant surviving the economy na dependent sa foreign companies, no, na not local industries, no. Ito yung mga invisible hand ng constitution at ng oligarch politics. Kahit hindi mo nakikita directly, ramdam mo siya sa araw-araw na buhay. Sa ilalim ng 1987 Constitution, oligarchs flourished. A few families controlled politics, businesses, and even media, from telecommunication, electricity, water, to transportation. Halos lahat ay nasa kamay ng ilang pamilya. This concentration of wealth and power limited competition, stifled innovation, and burdened ordinary citizens with high cost. Kaya naman kahit may freedom and democracy tayo on paper, but in practice, maraming Pilipino ang hindi nakinabang or nakikinabang. This is the paradox of the Philippine democracy. Free to vote pero limitado ang choices. Free to speak pero iilan lang ang nakikinabang or nakikinig. Free to dream pero halos imposibleng abutin. Pero paano kung magbago ang saligang batas? Ano ang maaaring mangyari kung may tama ang mga probisyon na matagal ng pinapakinabangan ng mga elite, no? Imagine a Philippines without political dynasties, kung saan ang isang simpleng guro o nurse ay may pagkakataong tumakbo at manalo, di ba? Imagine ang economy na hindi nakadepende sa foreign loans, kundi malakas ang industries. Imagine a justice system na mabilis, accessible at hindi nabibili. Imagine a government na accountable, transparent, at tunay na nagsisilbi sa bayan. These are not impossible dreams. These are achievable realities if the foundation, the Constitution itself is reformed. So let's go back to the question. No? Bakit walang nagbabago kahit ilang rally at ilang leader na ang napalitan? The answer lies in the system itself. Sa mismong saligang batas na nagigiya ng bansa natin. In our next video, we will break down the specific provisions of the 1987 Constitution. We will examine the loopholes, the outdated policies, and the possible solutions that fit the modern era. Because if we really want change, we need to stop changing paces and start changing the system.